Coming into number 10, we have a whole cemetery. Imagine walking into your yard one day and being like, I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna finally build a pool! And then when you start putting spade to soil, you start digging, you discover that actually you've been sunning yourself atop an ancient cemetery. Absolutely not. No thank you. Vincent Marcello lives in the historic French Quarter of New Orleans, so I'm sure that he knew that there was a likelihood of something old being unearthed. He just didn't expect it to be hundreds upon hundreds of human bodies. It seems that once the digging started, one of the most densely populated old burial sites in the area was unearthed. Mr. Marcello later began working with forensic teams to reunite existing family members to the human remains. It is unclear whether or not he ever got his pool, but I have to say, if he did, how could he not think of that scene from Poltergeist? You know the one. More pool drama at number 9, we have the alligator. Snap, snap. I guess that this is an occupational hazard of living somewhere lovely like Florida, because with the good, I guess, has to come the bad. On the one hand, hurrah! Lovely weather and pool fun and parties and pool floats and yay! But on the other, uh-oh, gator in the pool. Once again, snap, snap. Now I'm curious, how many of you guys actually live in Florida? Have you ever had an alligator in your pool? Is this normal? Kinda sounds scary to the rest of us, to be honest with you. In April 2018, a 10-foot gator was fished out of a pool in Sarasota County, and this picture was captured of the rescue. Ah! Coming into number 8, we have an actual cheetah. So you would think that this story would have gone down in like Africa where cheetahs are a thing, but the scariest thing about this story, other than, you know, kill a cat big claws, is that actually it happened in a small town in Cambridgeshire in England. Basically, usually the scariest wild animal is pretty much a rabbit with myxomatosis, so yeah, cheetah. In the garden. A 9-year-old boy by the name of Toby Taylor saw a cheetah in his garden. How did he know it was a cheetah? Well, it came replete with sharp teeth, a fearsome roar, long claws, and the classic spots. Toby was riding his bike in the yard when he saw the big cat emerging from some bushes. He ditched his bike and ran inside, like I think the rest of us probably would. He screamed to his mum that there was a killer cat in the garden. Now at first she was bemused. Honestly, good job he got inside because the cheetah gnawed on the boy's bike. His mum Jules said, "We peered out of the kitchen window and there it was, sitting bang in the middle of our lawn looking towards the house. Then it got hold of Toby's bike and it started ripping it to bits." I guess better his bike than Toby, right? She said, "I was in a blind panic and didn't know what to do, so I phoned 999. Now it seems the cheetah had actually escaped from the nearby Hamerton Zoo. The zoo downplayed the incident and the cheetah, called Akia, was dubbed as friendly as a pet dog. Somehow, I don't think so. Coming into number 7, we have 3,000 unexploded bombs. What a find! It seems that thousands of unexploded World War II bombs dating back over 70 years were discovered in the courtyard of a residential house in China. This is another case of, ooh, let's build a pool. Oh wait, hell no. Honestly, get a literal load of these unexploded weapons. What is happening? Should we ever build pools? You never know what you're gonna find. It is said that the majority of the explosives were hand grenades along with mortars and incendiary bombs. I don't know what they are, but you know, bombs. Bombs! Bombs. Bombs. The bombs were thought to be left over from the Second Sino-Japanese War that took place between 1937 and 1945, and once again, bombs. Coming into number 6, we have a lost Hollywood star. Now this is actually a really sad story. In 1996, Margaret Kidder was found dirty, frightened and paranoid in bushes in someone else's back garden in Los Angeles. Honestly, imagine hearing a rustling in your garden and going out to find a star in mental distress. At the time, Kidder was 47 and had made her name as Lois Lane in 1978's Superman. Sadly, in the mid-1990s, she suffered a mental breakdown and went missing. Now at the time of her discovery in a residential garden, she'd cut off her hair with a razor blade and was covered in bruises and scratches. She'd been living feral in the bushes for days. She claimed that she'd been the victim of assault and that she was hiding from someone, but officers who responded to a concerned homeowner's call found no evidence that she'd actually been the victim of a crime. Sadly, Kidder, who committed suicide and died last year, was suffering from a serious mental health lapse. Still though, can you imagine going out into your garden and finding, I guess, what was a literal madwoman? Poor woman. Coming into number 5, we have a stash of cursed cash. A 51-year-old man from Illinois was picking broccoli in his garden when he came across $150,000 in cash. Now, Wayne Sabaj was unemployed at the time of the discovery, but nonetheless he was a good Samaritan and alerted the police, who retrieved the money. Now, they said if nobody had claimed the cash by the end of 2012, it would be his to keep. However though, a spanner was in the works. It came when his 87-year-old neighbor Dolores Johnson claimed that she'd thrown the cash away because it was cursed. Shortly after Johnson died, the money was then set to be sent to Sabaj because he found it. Just 10 days before the money was due to be released to him, unfortunately, he passed away too. It was then decided that the money would go to his dad, who then went into cardiac arrest. So was this cursed money? Honestly, if I found $150,000 in my garden, I think it would probably be too good to be true. Coming into number 4, we have an alien. What is this? Honestly, get a look at this and tell me what on earth you think it is, because I have no idea. It's gross and I don't want to touch it. Blech. A slimy pink creature turned up in a woman's backyard and had tongues of the internet wagging with theories. Was it an alien? The Californian homeowner posted the image on Facebook saying, "I wasn't going to post this, but I can't stop trying to figure out WTF this thing is. I heard something scream at like 11:30 last night and went on my yard and found this thing." Now, some responders were telling the woman to salt the ground. Many more level-headed viewers claimed that the creature was actually a deformed deer fetus. Either way, what a thing to find in your garden. Alien or just deformed creature? Like, my reaction would be the same. Coming into number 3, we have deadly snakes. I don't know why I said it like that, but I hope you enjoy it. Imagine having an old shed at the bottom of the garden and one day you spot a snake slithering under it. Now, we don't have rattlesnakes in the UK, but they are a thing in America, especially Texas and the South. Now, Bobby Cowan and his 2 friends were at his property working on a windmill when they saw a rattlesnake slither under an old hunting shed. They used machinery to lift the crumbling shed to find the deadly snake, but when they lifted it, I don't even really know how to break this to you. I feel a bit sick. Do you want to see what they found instead?
What's that big one at?
Yep, that is a nest of rattlesnakes. A literal nest. They're slithering everywhere. No! There are between 35 to 50 of the blighters just slithering around under there, and honestly, to me, that's the stuff of nightmares even though I'm a Slytherin. I just can't. Too many snakes. Like snakes casually dropping from places? Yuck. No. No. The video was posted on Facebook and went viral in 2018. It currently has over 800,000 views, but again, I have to say no. 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 I'd actually rather see this at number 2 than snakes, but at number 2 we have a ghost. In March 2019, a family checked over their CCTV footage to spot a ghost in their backyard. The spectre was spotted by 39-year-old mother Amanda Papadopoulos, who was home in Lincoln. Now, their house used to be a former Victorian school. The ghost seemed to be of a Victorian child walking across the grounds. Have a look for yourself. Mrs. Papadopoulos discovered the footage after receiving a notification from Nest. That's the security company that made the camera, and they basically alert you when there's been activity in your house. She was alerted that there was activity in her garden, and she was shocked when she looked over the footage. In an interview, she said, "I don't want to look at it too much. My husband thinks it's fantastic, whereas I'm actually a bit more scared." She also said that it wasn't the first time something strange had happened on the property. Her family had heard a few things go bump in the night. Ghosts in the garden. Ghosts in the garden. What could be worse at number 1? Oh, it's a human foot. I don't know why I make these songs up, but there they are for you. In July 2016, a severed foot was found in the undergrowth of the garden of a property in Bath in England. It was the second foot found within 5 months, and baffled officers due to its seeming lack of DNA. The foot was from an adult white Caucasian human and had been seriously doused in preservative chemicals. The first foot was found in a park by dog walkers a month before the second. And, dear reader, I hate to break it to you, a third foot was found in another garden in Bath just a month later. This was in a residential area called Cranswell Park. 3 feet! Honestly, that's one too many feet. Imagine finding a severed foot in your garden. Like, no, absolutely no. No, no, no. There's not enough no's in the world for my thoughts on severed feet in the garden. No. Anyway, Anyway, police still don't know what happened. An Avon and Somerset Constabulary spokesman released a statement in 2016 to say, "We have carried out an extensive investigation into all 3 feet and have exhausted all active lines of inquiry pending any new information. We are satisfied that no crime has been committed and that the feet are more than likely an exhibit from a medical or educational establishment or from a private collection which has been disturbed by animals." Now guys, anyone else listening to this thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean? This doesn't give me any sense of solace or peace at all. It doesn't really make it any less creepy, right? Private collection of dead people has been disturbed by animals and hacked off body parts are turning up on people's lawns. Like, thank you. Actually, I really don't trust you as my police force. Sorry if you're watching. But still, feet in the garden. You need to do something about this.
Coming in at number 10 is the Wendigo. A Wendigo originates from a folklore of Plains and Great Lakes natives as well as some First Nations. It's based in and around the East Coast forests of Canada, the Great Plains region of the United States, and the Great Lakes region of both the United States and Canada. Now, sometimes Wendigos are described as exceptionally thin, with the skull and skeleton pushing through its ash-colored mummy-like skin. Other stories describe the Wendigo as a well-fleshed giant who gets proportionately larger the more it eats. According to other legends, the Wendigo has a pointed or animal-like ears with antlers or horns sprouting on its head. A Wendigo's eyes have been described as sunken or glowing like hot coals. Sharp and pointy teeth, extremely bad breath, and bodily odor are often traits of a Wendigo. It is usually, but not always, endowed with powers such as superhuman strength and stamina that allows it to stalk, overpower, and devour its victims. Wendigos are usually credited with exceptional eyesight, hearing, and sense of smell. They're said to move with the speed of the wind and have the ability to walk across deep snow or even over open water without sinking. Now, it's said to invoke feelings of insatiable greed and hunger, and the desire to eat other humans, and propensity to end people's lives in those who fall under its influence. Number 9. El Chupacabra. The El Chupacabra is a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas. In 1975, a series of livestock killings in the small town of Mocha, Puerto Rico were attributed to the vampire of Mocha. Now, each of these animals were reported to have its body bled dry through a series of small circular incisions. A few months later, in August, an eyewitness reported seeing the creature in Puerto Rico, where as many as 150 farm animals and pets were reportedly killed. Now, physical descriptions of the creature vary. In Puerto Rico and in Latin America, it is generally described as a heavy creature, reptilian and alien-like, roughly the size of a small bear, and with a row of spines reaching from the neck to the base of the tail, while in southwestern United States, it is depicted as more dog-like. Shortly after the first reported incident in Puerto Rico, other animal deaths were reported in other countries, such as Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Peru, and the United States. Coming at number 8, we have Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also commonly referred to as Sasquatch, is an ape-like creature said to inhabit the forest of North America. North American settlers started reporting sightings during the late 1800s and into the 1900s, with the occasional finding of footprints, sporadic encounters, and even grainy photos and videos adding to the mystery. Bigfoot is often described as a large, muscular, bipedal ape or human-like creature covered in black, dark brown, or dark reddish hair. Descriptions estimate the height of roughly 6 to 9 feet, with some depictions having the creature standing as tall as 10 to 15 feet. Some alleged observations describe Bigfoot as more human than ape, particularly in regards to the face. Common descriptions include broad shoulders, no visible neck, and long arms. Now, some alleged nighttime sightings have stated the creature's eyes glowed yellow or red. In 1971, multiple people in the Dailies, Oregon filed a police report describing an overgrown ape, and one of the men claimed to have sighted the creature in the scope of his rifle, but could not bring himself to shoot it because it looked more human than animal. Now, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of Bigfoot sightings, and Bigfoot has come somewhat of a pop culture figure, as there are TV shows, movies, and fan clubs dedicated to him. Number 7. Lizard Man. In the folklore of Lee County, South Carolina, the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp is an entity said to inhabit the swampland of the region. First mentioned in the late 1980s, the sightings and damage attributed to the creature yielded a significant amount of newspaper, radio, and television publicity. On July 14, 1988, the Lee County Sheriff's Office investigated a report of a car damaged overnight while parked at a home on the edge of Scape or Swamp. The car reportedly had tooth marks and scratches with hair and muddy footprints left behind. Sheriff Liston Truesdale noted that this was the start of various claims that eventually turned into a story about a lizard man in the swamp. Prompted by the news of the vehicle damage, local Christopher Davis reported to the sheriff that his car was damaged by a creature he described as green, wet-like, about 7 feet tall, and had 3 fingers, red eyes, skin like a lizard, and snake-like scales 2 weeks earlier. According to Christopher, he was driving home from working a night shift at a fast food restaurant when his car got a flat tire. After fixing it, he saw a creature walking towards him. He got in his car and began to drive, but the creature was soon on top of the car. He applied the brakes, causing the creature to roll off the car, giving him enough time to escape. Number 6. Loveland Frog. In Ohio folklore, the Loveland Frog is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. In 1972, the Loveland Frog legend gained renowned attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with the description of the Frogman. After a reported sighting in 2016, the second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and had identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail. Now, according to various legends, the creature was first sighted by a businessman or traveling salesman driving along an unnamed road late at night in 1955, with some versions of the story specifying the month of May. In one story, the driver was heading out of a Branch Hill neighborhood when he spotted 3 figures standing erect on their hind legs along the side of the road, each 3 to 4 feet in height, with leathery skin and frog faces. In other versions of the story, the creatures were spotted under or over a poorly lit bridge, and one held a wand over its head that fired a spray of sparks. Number 5. Bat Squatch. The Bat Squatch is a flying cryptid that was allegedly seen near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. This creature is said to have yellow eyes, a dog-like muzzle, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and a leathery bat-like wings that span up to 50 feet. In addition, Bat Squatch is said to be 9 feet tall and has the ability to affect car engines. In April 1994, Brian Canfield was driving in Washington's Pierce County when his truck suddenly died. He said a large creature landed in front of him that was human-like, 9 feet tall, with bat-like wings and a coat of blue fur. A possible second sighting was reported in 2009 near Mount Shasta in California. Several hikers witnessed a huge creature with leathery wings spanning 50 feet fly out of a crevice in the mountain. At first, an eyewitness described the creature as having a head similar to a pterodactyl. However, upon reconsideration, the witness claimed that it was more akin to a flying fox bat. Then, in June 2011, a man was in his yard walking his dog and said, "I saw something flying in the sky. It had bat wings, blue fur, and had a face similar to eyes growing red. It was about 9 feet tall at the least, and I watched it just fly away." Number 4. Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. This creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked or pointed tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. According to popular folklore, the Jersey Devil originated with a Pine Barrens resident named Jade Leeds, also known as Mother Leeds. The legend states that Mother Leeds had 12 children, and after discovering she was pregnant for the 13th time, she cursed the child in frustration, declaring that the child would be the devil. Born as a normal child, the 13th child transformed into the creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading into the pines. It was in some versions of the tale that Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch, and the child's father was the devil himself. Then one of the first reported Jersey Devil sightings was in 1812, when Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's older brother, claimed he saw the Jersey Devil while hunting near his Bordentown estate. Number 3. Mothman. In West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 5th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published on the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1967, 1966, titled "Couple See Man-Sized Bird, Creature, Something." The national press soon picked up on the reports and helped spread the news story across the United States. On November 15, 1996, two young couples from Point Pleasant, Dickie and Linda Maxwell, and Steve and Mary Mallett told police that they had seen a large white creature whose eyes glowed red, standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of the former World War II munitions plant. Linda Scarberry described it as a slender, muscular man, about 7 feet tall with white wings, and said that she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effects of its eyes. Distressed, the witnesses drove away at a high speed and said that the creature flew after their car, making a screeching sound. It pursued them as far as Point Pleasant city limits, and during the next few days, other people reported similar sightings after local newspapers reported it. Two volunteer firemen who saw it said it was a large bird with red eyes. Number 2. Skunk ape. The skunk ape is a cryptid ape-like creature that inhabits forests and swamps in the southeastern United States. Perhaps most prominent in the state of Florida, the alleged creature is also commonly referred to as the Florida Bigfoot and is often compared to or called the cousin of Bigfoot, a prominent subject within North America popular culture. Now, the skunk ape is commonly described as a bipedal ape-like creature, approximately 5 to 7 feet tall and covered in malted reddish-brown hair. It is named for its foul odor, often described as being similar to a skunk. The skunk ape has been recorded as appearing in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama folklore since European settlers first occupied the region. In 1818, local newspapers reported a story that spoke of a man-sized monkey raiding food stores and stalking fishermen along the shore. And coming at number 1 is skinwalkers. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. According to some traditions, skinwalkers were once healers and medicine men who were corrupted by their own power and turned evil. By draping the hide of certain animals over themselves, the witch takes on the form and traits of the animal. Now, in doing so, the witch gains the animal's strength, speed, and endurance. They sometimes transform themselves into animals simply for the purpose of traversing great distances quickly. They may also transform in order to wreak havoc on others, as well as their identity will be hidden and they'll be able to escape quickly if necessary. Now, they curse people and cause great suffering and death, one Navajo writer explained. At night, their eyes grow red like hot coals. It is said that if you see the face of a skinwalker, they have to kill you. If you see one and know who it is, you will die. If you see them and you don't know them, they have to kill you to keep you from finding out who they are. Skinwalkers are also telepathically linked with each other, enhancing their coordination during hunts and fights, but allowing little or no privacy at any time. Now, they can also copy animal or human voices to lure victims to feed on. They generally copy the sound of a human that is in need of help, so make sure you don't get tricked.
Starting us off with number 10 is the alien. Now, in 2015, a woman living in California heard a scream in her backyard and then went outside and found a creature that she literally just could not identify. It looks like a pink, slimy, half-developed creature of some kind with just 2 legs, or their 2 arms, I'm not sure, a very prominent butthole, and just a large face. People started calling it alien or face hugger. I was really trying to figure out what it was, but it's honestly hard to look at the pictures for a very long period of time without feeling you know what I mean? Reddit users figured out that maybe it was half of a deer fetus that had been chewed on by scavengers or predators, or maybe it was a stillbirth. No one really knows for sure, but you've never quite seen anything like it either. I don't know if I want to recommend to you to take a look, but I feel like I just narrated the story to you, so you should take a look, but I'm sorry if you don't like what you see. Coming in at number 9 is the goanna. Why do so many of these things happen in Australia? The amount of news stories I used to see on Facebook of giant spiders on the ceilings or like a huge lizard outside in Australian homes, I was like, wow, Australians must really know how to deal with these things. I'm impressed. But anyway, in 2015, Thaguna resident Eric Holland was doing some work in his shed when he opened the door and saw this massive goanna run across the grass and then out of sight. Quick fact file if you don't know what a goanna is, because I didn't either. It's basically a giant Australian monitor lizard, and my skin is feeling just like, cringy just thinking about it. Reptiles just do something to me, I don't know. It just yeah, let's not talk about it. But anyway, he ran inside after he saw it as any normal person would, but then he started hearing a banging noise coming from the side of his house. He went outside and saw the goanna hitting the drain pipe with its tail. When a senior reptile keeper came in to check it out, he said, you know, it's not that uncommon to find one, but finding one clinging to the side of your house is not normal. But he did say never approach an adult male goanna since they're very powerful. They have a strong jaw, razor sharp teeth, and claws that can literally rip you apart. So, you know, you're better off just not finding one on the side of your house. At number 8 we have the large cat. Now in 2008, a 9-year-old boy living in the UK ran into his house to tell his mum that there was a literal cheetah in their backyard. His mum obviously didn't believe him and thought he had just seen a large cat, but when she glanced outside the window she realized no, he actually did see a cheetah. She locked her doors, I don't know why, because I doubt the cheetah could just turn her doorknob and come inside, but she locked her doors and called the police. After some digging, the police found out that the cheetah had escaped from a nearby sanctuary and employees were on their way to collect it. The employees were stunned that the boy didn't approach the cheetah or scare it because when provoked they can obviously be extremely dangerous. Filling our number 7 slot is the whale. I never said the creatures had to be alive, guys, they could be dead as well. Back in 1978, Gary Johnson was in his backyard when he saw this rock sticking out of the ground. Hoping it was something important, he called an expert in to evaluate it, but they said it had zero value. So it sat untouched for 35 more years until 2014 when Johnson found out that a 12-million-year-old whale skull was found very close to where he had found the stone. So he called another expert and this paleontologist said the rock he found was a 14 to 16 million-year-old fossil. It seemed to be the remains of a baleen whale. Just imagine finding that in your backyard. Imagine finding that but then sitting on it for like 20 years and then coming back to it. Come on people, science cannot wait forever. Now at number 6 is the pilosaur. Back in 1997 in Suffolk, a man called John Lambert found an interesting looking bone in his backyard whilst builders were digging a foundation trench for a new wall. He put the bone in his shed and forgot about it for 16 years, as everybody on this list is seeming to do, and then in 2013 he miraculously remembered the bone. He decided to take it to Ipswich Museum and they found out that it was actually a limb bone from a pilosaur. Now pilosaurs were marine reptiles that terrorized the sea 60 to 250 million years ago. They were meant to have one of the strongest bites in the world, but the weird part was that they weren't native to the English Sea, so how on earth did the bone find itself in Suffolk? Coming in at number 5 is the fox. Now this one's actually not scary at all, it's very cute, so skip it if you'd like, but halfway through I think it's time for some more comic relief. Or some cute relief, I don't know what to call it. So last year a woman called Heather who lives in southeast London found a fox in her backyard, and in the winter that's slightly uncommon, but what's even more uncommon is what the fox was doing. Heather, a mum of 2, had a trampoline in her backyard and the fox was just jumping up and down on the trampoline for ages, basically just having a ball of a time. At one point it even jumps off the trampoline, realizes he wants to have more fun, and then jumps back on and rolls around on the layer of snow on the trampoline. It's actually really heartwarming to watch, you should watch it I think. In 2016, Mundo Alucinante uploaded a video onto his YouTube channel of some weird insect creature that he'd found in his backyard. How many times have I said backyard in this video? Just let me know in the comments below. Now he has no clue what it is. It looks like a giant brown insect of sorts or a hugely mutated grasshopper, I don't really know, but I couldn't watch the video for long because I actually started to feel like it was on me somehow, like in my pants. Viewers speculated in the comments about what the creature was as well. People said it was a mole cricket, a mutant cockroach, a poop sausage, but I think in the end this alien from the ground ended up being a mole cricket to the unsuspecting finder. But honestly, if I found that, I also wouldn't know it was a mole cricket, so I'd also be like, what the hell's that? Anybody else with me? Filling our number 3 slot is the swimming pool. Now I've heard news stories from Australia where storms have been so bad that somehow due to flooding, sharks have ended up in people's swimming pools. But I also always took those stories with a grain of salt because they just don't feel 100% plausible. But anyway, similarly in Florida, Sharon Bente and her husband started hearing weird noises coming from their backyard in the middle of the night. They went to check it out because for all they know it could have been a robber or something, but it ended up being an 8-foot alligator. I don't know if that's worse than a robber, I'm not really sure, but it somehow got into their yard and was now swimming in their swimming pool with a small floating toy. Had to add that detail as well. They called the sheriff and the alligator was taken to a farm in Arcadia. But like, I just have so many questions. How did it get there? Where did it come from? Oh, that just reminded me of that Cotton Eye Joe song, you know, where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Lol. Now that's gonna be on the internet forever. Now, number 2 is the python. Now this one also took place in Australia, which I'm honestly not surprised about at this point, but also can we just talk about one thing? I don't get why people keep snakes as pets, and I'm not judging you if you do before you all attack me in the comments, but I'm genuinely curious. Like, I have a cat, she's fluffy, I like to cuddle her. Why do people have snakes? Do they like to cuddle them too? These are genuine questions. I want to know the reasons. Please educate me in the comments below, thank you. But anyway, back to the story. Last year, Trina Hibbard woke up to a 5-meter long python that stretched from her backyard through the open window in her living room and then to her guest bedroom. She said she had seen Monty, obviously she called the python Monty, here and there for the last few years, but she'd never actually seen him inside the house, well, until now. She hadn't seen him in ages and thought he may have found a new snake hangout. Yeah, he did. In your living room, Trina. And finally, at number 1 is Margot Kidder. Now obviously Margot is a human and not a creature, but the way she was found and the state she was found in was quite unsettling, so I was like, perhaps I can include this in the list as well. So Margot was an actress most well known for playing Lois Lane in the Superman film series. She was already battling health and financial troubles and had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder but had refused to accept it. In 1996, she suffered a bad public manic episode because her laptop got a virus and all the files were deleted, including the drafts of her autobiography that she'd been working on for 3 years. It couldn't be retrieved, and so she entered a manic state and disappeared for 4 days. Honestly, if you've ever lost uni work on a laptop, you know how bad that feels. So imagine 3 years of work lost, like that sucks. So after disappearing for 4 days, someone found her in their backyard in Glendale, very paranoid and scared.